welcome, and thank you for being here. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Today we're going to be talking about big news for immigrant detainees. And this is our first live session of the month of December of 2025. Can you believe we're already in the month of December of 2025? Crazy. All right. And so welcome and thank you for being here. Remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right? Today, our theme is big news for immigrant detainees. If you know somebody who's in detention right now, my heart goes out to all of them. And there's some good news that has come down that I want to share. All right? And so this episode might be worth paying attention to. It might affect whether or not your individual, whether or not your loved one needs to stay in detention or whether or not they could get a bond hearing to get released. Okay? And so, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And thank you so much for being here with me here on today's episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. All right? My question, as always, is, hey, do you want to get a green card? Do you want to get asylum? Do you want to apply for a U visa or VAWA or potentially for U.S. citizenship? Or do you want to at least understand what your options are? All right? What solution might be available for your immigration situation? Because if so, go for it, and I'd love to help you with it. All right, my firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years, and we would love for your case to be one of them. Okay, and so thanks to everybody for being here. I will keep our episode relatively short and sweet today, but if you're watching and if you have a question or two, I'll take a question or two today, and then we'll wrap up and do this episode in Spanish, as we always do as well. Okay? So welcome. Thanks so much for being here. So for immigration detention, there's currently over 64,000 immigrants in detention throughout the United States. All right? The Trump administration is wanting to increase that number to more than 100,000 people detained and in immigration detention on any given day. All right, they're wanting to increase the arrests, right, to upwards of 3,000 people arrested by ICE every single day, and we know that, and we've been tracking that, and so what's the news? Well, remember a couple months ago, the matter of Yahure Hurtado was decided. It was a BIA case saying that all people, kind of a new interpretation, horrible interpretation of detention law, saying that all people who arrived EWI, who entered without inspection, EWI, entered without inspection, that's what EWI refers to, all people who entered without inspection are subject to mandatory detention, and therefore they're not even eligible to have a bond hearing, that the immigration judges throughout the country don't even have jurisdiction to consider a bond hearing for that group of people. That was this case. All right? And in the last week, a federal case has decided that that finding was unlawful. And so, so the case I'm talking about now is a federal court who has been reviewing that decision, the matter of Yahure Hurtado. And the case that's reviewing it is a new case. It's called Maldonado Bautista versus Nome. And that's a federal district court case where the federal district court here in California certified a class action, all right? And it's a nationwide class action. It applies to everyone throughout the United States. I'll give you the precise language of the people who are affected by this. All right, according to the decision, the bond eligible class, this class is labeled as, quote, all non-citizens in the United States without lawful status who, one, have entered or will enter the United States without inspection, so it implies even to people in the future. 2, were not or will not be apprehended on their arrival, upon arrival. And 3, are not or will not be subject to detention under the otherwise mandatory detention statutes. All right? At the time the DHS makes an initial custody determination. That group of people has been certified as a nationwide class for the purpose of this lawsuit. All right? And then after certifying that group of people as a class for a class action suing the government, the court then granted that class a partial summary judgment. So what does this mean? What the court said is that absent Congress acting to completely eliminate Section 236A of the Immigration Nationality Act, which allows for bond hearings, all right? If Congress doesn't eliminate that, then the law is clear and the statute is unambiguous, and the statute says that people who entered without inspection are eligible for release on bond. Okay? So that people who entered without inspection and were not caught upon arrival and who are not otherwise subject to mandatory detention are at least eligible for bond hearings. And you can request bond hearings. Now that's a summary judgment in favor of the class, which are all non-citizens in the U.S. who entered without lawful status and who are detained or who will be detained, right? And so that's a big win, folks. That's a big win. I'm really grateful to see it, all right? But the fight goes on, because even with that big win, even with a federal district judge saying that that the government's interpretation of the law is wrong, and that immigration judges do have jurisdiction to grant bond, even despite this, there are reports from around the country that immigration judges are still saying that they're not bound by this new ruling, and that they're going to deny bond and say that they're not, that they don't have jurisdiction to consider bond. Why? Because the immigration judges are bound by the BIA. All right, so you've got this tension brewing between federal courts, which are like Article 3 in the U.S. Constitution, have the power to say when the executive branch oversteps its authority, versus the immigration court system, which is inside the executive branch and reports up to the Attorney General and the U.S. President. All right? There's this tension brewing. Okay? So in your case, what's the point of all this? In your case, if your immigration judge refuses to grant you a bond hearing, and if you entered IWI, if you're subject to this class, right, then you might need to file a habeas and challenge that finding, because the federal courts are listening, and we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see if the immigration judges listen also. It might require circuit courts coming in and declaring that matter of Yahure Hurtado was unlawful. But nevertheless, this is a great milestone in the right direction, and it is just another piece of authority undermining what the Trump administration is trying to do with their detention efforts and saying that people aren't eligible for bond. Okay? So if you entered without permission, but you have no other big issue, and you're detained by ICE, under this ruling, you should be eligible for at least a bond hearing to request release by paying a bond to the government in exchange for your release from custody. Okay? These things are complicated, folks. These things are complicated. The best advice, as always, is do not go alone. All right, get support, get a team behind you. Uh, you know, uh, Schedule a consultation if you know somebody that's in this situation, and let's go one step at a time. Figure out what our best strategy is, and see how we can get somebody released on bond or out of custody through other means, and see what options you have to winning that case. All right. So so let's see here. Couple of announcements, and then we'll wrap up here today. All right. Couple of announcements coming up. I have shared with our clients, and I've put it out there, that I've got a conversation. We're going to have a lunch in my office next Friday, the 12th of December, and it is for immigrant business owners. If you are an immigrant and if you own your own business, I'm going to be inviting you to come into my firm for lunch. Lunch is on me. And I'd love to see how I can support you better, to explain, and we can talk through, hey, how would you protect your team? How would you protect your business if ICE were to show up at your business? If you are interested in attending that, please reach out and let us know. I need to have a head count before we have the lunch so that we know how much food to order. And so please let us know. Please put it in the comments or put it in the notes. And if you are a client of our firm, especially, you've received emails about it. This is open even if you're not a client of our firm, but you are an immigrant in the San Francisco Bay Area. And if you want to come to that lunch, then please reach out. Please let us know. We'd love to have you there. Okay? All right. So couple of other things that are on the horizon. We will be announcing this. I'm going to do a what we call a New Year, New You workshop at the end of December. It might be in the end of December, might be early January, so watch out for that. I did that last year. It was well received. We will be doing it for our clients, and I will be sharing it with internet as well. If you're interested in seeing that, how can we plan for the year ahead, and what do we need to expect in the year ahead in immigration? If you're interested in seeing that, just subscribe to our channels, follow us online, like us, give us a heart, whatever. Give us some love on your platform, and we'd love to share that content with you as we develop it. Okay, that's what I got here for today. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate each of you. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. All right? And if my office can help you in any way with your immigration situation, please feel free to give us a call. We are here to help. We would love to help. And in the meantime, hey, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving week, and I hope you are getting ready for the Christmas season and the holidays are upon us, and make it a great month of December. If you know somebody who's detained by ICE right now, it's like, yeah, we gotta keep these people. There's 64,000 people right now. Got to keep them in our minds. And if our office can help you with that situation, please feel free to reach out. Okay. So thanks a lot, everybody. Make it a great day. We'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks so much. Take care.